Hello, my name is Matthew Tink. In this video, I'd like to explain why Western civilization still matters and why it remains a useful way to understand the modern world. Not as a slogan or something frozen in the past, but as a historical framework that helps us understand where many of our political ideas, moral assumptions, and institutions actually come from. I would like to address the idea that Western civilization is outdated or even meaningless. Western civilization is often criticized as being too vague or exclusionary. Some scholars, like Kwame Anthony Appiah, have argued that it doesn't really exist as a coherent concept. However, disagreement doesn't make the idea useless. In fact, debate and self-criticism has always been a part of Western tradition. The fact that people still argue about Western civilization is actually evidence that it's still relevant. This leads to the next point, where our institutions come from. Western civilization matters because it helps explain how modern institutions developed. Ideas like constitutional government, individual rights, the rule of law, and higher education didn't just appear overnight. These ideas grew out of a long historical process that combined classical philosophy, Roman law, Christian moral thought, and Enlightenment ideas. Historians like Lawrence Birken and Robert Royal describe Western civilization as an ongoing conversation. Our political and education systems are still shaped by that conversation, whether we recognize it or not. Another reason Western civilization still matters is that its moral foundations are still at work today. Early political thinkers didn't separate moral reasoning from public life the way we often try to now. Scholars such as Daniel Dreisbach and Orange Love show how biblical ideas and classical political thought shaped early American public life. Even documents like George Washington's Thanksgiving Proclamation show that moral responsibility and civic virtue were seen as public concerns. Those assumptions still influence debates today, whether people agree with them or not. This brings me to history and memory and why that matters. Historians like John Lukacs argue that historical awareness is essential to civilization itself. When societies lose a sense of history, everything gets judged by the present moment alone. Western civilization provides a framework for thinking historically, for understanding continuity, change, and human limits over time. That perspective is still badly needed. So why does any of this matter right now? Even modern critiques of Western civilization depend on Western ideas. Concepts like rights, equality, justice, reform, and conscience all come from this tradition. In that sense, Western civilization isn't something we simply accept or reject. It's the framework within which many of today's debates are still happening. Western civilization is relevant today not because it's perfect, but because it helps explain how modern societies think about freedom, authority, and human dignity. One of the real benefits of studying Western civilization is that it encourages us to slow down and think historically, rather than only reacting to the present. It reminds us that many of the ideas we debate today developed over long periods, through disagreement and reform. Studying Western civilization isn't about defending the past. It's about understanding the roots of the world we live in now and gaining the perspective needed to engage current debates more thoughtfully. Thank you for watching.